In the last video, we have already discussed about different types of concentration unit, what was the need of the concentration unit, and in this video we will discuss about solubility. So, before discussing about solubility, I want to explain one thing that the resultant phase of the solution is completely dependent on the phase of solvent. For example, if in a solution the solute is solid, liquid or gas, it doesn't matter. If the solvent is solid, then the resultant phase of the solution will be solid. If the solvent is liquid, then the resultant phase of the solvent solution will be liquid. If the phase of the solvent is gas, then the resultant phase of the solution will be gas. We can see example for a solid solution. We can say any amalgam. Amalgam means any metal with the mercury. We can say mercury is we can take mercury as a solvent, and any metal, for example zinc amalgam, which is solid in nature. In this case, zinc is solid and working as a solute, and mercury, which is also a solid, so the resultant phase will be solid. An example of solid in liquid, sugar water solution. Example of solid in gas, we can take many examples like aerosols and clouds. There are many examples. So coming to our next point, solubility. Solubility can be defined as the maximum amount of solute that can be dissolved in the given amount of solvent. Solubility is dependent on temperature and pressure. So we can also define solubility as the in terms of temperature and pressure, that at a particular temperature and particular pressure, the maximum amount of solute that can be dissolved in the given amount of solvent is solubility. It is dependent on nature of solute as well as on the nature of solvent. What does it mean? It means if we dissolve sugar into water, then the solubility will be different. If we dissolve salt into water, then the solubility will be different. If we dissolve naphthalene into water, then the solubility will be different. Coming to our next point, solubility of solids in liquid. Before discussing about this term, we have some basic terms. That dissolution, what that dissolution means? Increase in the concentration of solution on addition of solute to solvent. Which, for example, we can take sugar and water solution, which is the simplest example to understand. If we add sugar to the water solution, then it becomes then the concentration of the solution begins to increase as soon as the sugar begins to dissolve into the solution. This process is known as dissolution. Next process is crystallization. As it means crystallization, there will be some formation of crystal. And coming to definition, some solute particles in solution collide with the solid solute particles and get separated. Means if we keep adding sugar to the water solution, then there will be some sugar particle which are already dissolved into the solution will collide to the upcoming sugar particle and will get separated in the form of crystal. This process is known as crystallization. So from the above two terms we can see that the dissolution and crystallization are process are completely opposite to each other. Means if dissolution process is forward process, then the crystallization is backward process. Our next term is dynamic equilibrium. Equilibrium, simply we can say that where the equilibrium term means balancing. It will balance the forward as well as backward. So in terms of solubility of solids and liquid, we can define Equilibrium as the when the rate of dissolution becomes equal to the rate of crystallization, means amount of sugar getting dissolved will be equal to the amount of sugar getting crystallized, means getting separated. Why does dynamic word is introduced here? Dynamic word simply, there will not be, the process will not stop. So in case of dissolution and crystallization, the sugar is getting dissolved and the sugar which is already in the solution is getting crystallized, is getting separated out in the form of crystal. So the process is not stopped. So this is termed as dynamic equilibrium. Our next term is saturated solution. Before discussing about this term, I'll explain one thing with a general example. Again, a sugar water example. There will be a certain amount of sugar for a certain amount of water. For example, if we take 100 ml of water, then there will be certain amount, say 50 gram of sugar that can be dissolved. If we further add sugar, there will not be, the sugar will not be getting dissolved. So at this time the solution is termed as saturated solution. Coming to the definition, we can say that on addition of further solute, concentration does not increase. Means if we keep adding solute, then the solution will not be, concentration of the solution will not be increasing. But does the process stops? No, the process does not stop, because the forward process dissolution is also keep going and the backward process crystallization is also keep going. That's why it is termed as dynamic equilibrium. So we have understood all the basic terms. Coming to our next term, which is factors affecting of solubility of solids into liquid. What are factors affecting? Effect of temperature and effect of pressure, that we have already taken in the definition. So, factors affecting temperature, what are these? For endothermic reaction and for exothermic, there are two new terms. Let me introduce about these terms. For endothermic and exothermic. Exothermic process or exothermic reactions are those reactions which releases heat to the surrounding, and endothermic reaction or endothermic process are those process which absorbs heat from the surrounding. So coming to our point, for endothermic dissolution, solubility will be directly proportional to temperature. We already know that endothermic reaction which absorbs heat from the solution. If we increase temperature, means we are providing heat to the system, or we are providing heat to the solution, so it will be favorable condition. So on increasing temperature, solubility will increase. For exothermic, means the reaction is already releasing heat and we are supplying heat, so it will be negative impact. That is, on increasing temperature the solubility will decrease, or we can say that it is inversely proportional to temperature. Effect of pressure, there will not be any effect of pressure on the solubility of solid into liquid. Why? Because we know that the solids and liquid both are highly incompressible to each other, so that's why there will not be any effect of pressure. Coming to our next point, solubility of gas in liquid. Solubility of gas in liquid. Gas in liquid, the which means the gas is solute and liquid is solvent. So the resultant phase of the solution will be liquid, which means the gas is getting converted into liquid. So we already know that this is a general fact that the gas can be liquefied by applying some pressure, which means the solubility of gas increases with pressure. Means if we want to dissolve a gas into liquid, its solubility or its amount of dissolution can be increased by applying pressure. For this purpose, scientist Henry gave the law named as Henry law, which is the solubility of a gas in a liquid which is directly proportional to the pressure of a gas. Means if if we the solubility is completely dependent on the pressure of the gas or amount of pressure applied to the gas. Then after few years, Dalton came and corrected his statement. He just replaced the solubility term with the mole fraction and gave the statement that the partial pressure of the gas in vapor phase is directly proportional to the mole fraction of gas, and gave the expression that gave the expression which is P is equals to KH into X, where KH is Henry constant, X is mole fraction, and P is partial pressure. So from this statement, we can say that partial pressure is dependent on two factors, which is mole fraction, and second one is Henry constant, KH. And if we talk about KH, then we can say that KH is inversely proportional to the solubility. We will discuss it later, and we right now I'll explain just one term, that on increasing solubility the value of KH will decrease. And coming to our next point, application of Henry law. What is it? First one, to increase the solubility of CO2 gas in soft drinks. We have already seen this application, that in case of soft drink or soda bottle, the CO2 gas is liquefied at a high pressure, which is application of Henry law. At high altitude, the partial pressure of oxygen is less than at ground level. Since the partial pressure is of oxygen is less than that at ground level, so the solubility of oxygen in body will be less, which will lead to low concentration of oxygen, and will be having some symptoms like not not able to think freely, which is termed as anoxia. And if we talk about effect of temperature, it favors the low temperature high solubility. Why low temperature high solubility? We have already seen here that the we have already discussed that the gas can be only liquefied by applying pressure. If a gas is converting into liquid state, which means its temperature is getting decreased. If its temperature is getting decreased, then this temperature difference will be released in the surrounding. And we already know that if a reaction releases heat to the surrounding, it means it is a exothermic reaction. And in case of solubility of solid in liquid, we already have discussed that for an exothermic reaction, low temperature, there will be high solubility.